A New York Knicks insider has just revealed that major changes to the team are imminent, as fans have wondered countlessly about multiple moves that Mike Brown and the coaching staff along with the front office will be making, and now we have an answer on what we are looking at going forwards, as the Knicks plan on optimizing the defensive side of the ball as much as humanly possible, despite Mike Brown being an offensively focused head coach. With the new defensive coordinator and with the new coaching staff in general, there are going to be some changes to this team that many fans are going to love, and we are going to discuss all of that, what it means, and how it is going to impact the Knicks throughout this season and eventually the playoffs. But guys, before we do that, if you're part of that 57.5% that's not subscribed to Knicks Digest, make sure to subscribe for daily New York Knicks updates. We have a lot going on with the channel right now that you do not want to miss out on. The Knicks are really now starting to ramp a bit more things up, and we're going to start hearing some more Knicks news as we've entered the second half of August, which unfortunately means summer's almost over, which I can't handle right now. But what we can handle is that means New York Knicks are right around the corner. And with that in mind, now's the time that Mike Brown is in the office. He's working on figuring out what the best way to optimize his new team is. It's no secret that the New York Knicks definitely have a few things to figure out, and that Mike Brown is always at his best coaching in the first year of his coaching tenure. That was the case with Sacramento. It's been the case basically everywhere he's went to, that his first year has been his best year. This is the best chance the Knicks have to win the NBA Finals just based off the weakness in the Eastern Conference. The Celtics are a non-factor for a year as they're just trying to retool the roster amidst all that financial issues, and obviously Jason Tatum being out for the year, and Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers obviously are going to be burning this year pretty much, with Halliburton not playing at all this season, Miles Turner being gone, and the team not really doing anything except understanding that they're not going to have a good year after making the NBA Finals and coming one game short of winning. Now look, when it comes down to it, the Knicks, with Mike Brown, there's going to be changes. One of the big things about Mike Brown that got him hired is that he was open to collaboration with the front office, something that Tom Thibodeau was vehemently against. Tibbs said time and time again that it was his team that he was coaching, that he didn't want suggestions from the front office, and that he knew what was best for his squad. Now, whether you want to agree with the front office getting involved in coaching or not, it's no secret that that was one of the reasons why Thibodeau got fired. Now, if you want to agree with that or not agree with that, that's your own opinion. I don't love when front offices get involved in coaching decisions, except for the fact that the Knicks coaching decisions that they suggested to Tom Thibodeau made sense. For instance, playing Landry Shamet, playing DeLon Wright, using your bench a little bit more when your starters are getting burnt and that starting unit is not working. And speaking of that starting unit, that is a big thing to go over with this Knicks team. Excuse me, James Edwards said that Josh Hart deserves to be a starter, and if he ends up not being one, as he's predicting, he thinks that it would be more about the Knicks and Mike Brown wanting to improve the defense than it does Josh Hart. Now, having Mitchell Robinson as the anchor of the front line will help do that. Furthermore, if the Knicks were to be, or if there were to be a starting lineup change, Josh Hart would handle it the best of anyone in last season's lineup. Hart has already been open about the fact that he's fine with the Knicks starting Mitchell Robinson, that he wants to be a servant to his teammate in every sense of the word. And Edwards continued by saying the starting lineup of Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, and Karl-Anthony Towns struggled in the postseason. Now, despite the team making the Eastern Conference Finals, that five-man group played a playoff-leading 335 minutes together, and they had a minus 6.2 net rating as well. Midway through the postseason, former head coach Tom Thibodeau, with a push from Josh Hart himself, swapped Mitchell Robinson into the starting lineup. Now, it not only took completely the man who got benched to sort of force this change, but also Mitchell Robinson just made more sense as a starter, both against the Pacers and in a general sense. It continues to make a ton of sense, which is why Knicks insider James Edwards does predict that the starting lineup will be Brunson, Bridges, OG, Cat, and Mitchell Robinson, with the bench unit looking something like Deuce McBride, Jordan Clarkson, Josh Hart, Gershon Yabusele, and Ariel Hukporti as the second unit, with Tyler Kolek and Pacome Dadier as some backups as well. Obviously, the Knicks do have two more spots to fill, whether that's going to be Ben Simmons, Landry Shamet, Malcolm Brogdon, someone in between, and then also that rookie scale deal that looks like it's going to be Mohamed Diawara. With all that sort of intact and figuring out what the rest of this unit's going to look like, it does mean a few things. One, whatever position gets signed has a big impact on Ariel Hukporti and how much minutes he'll be getting, though I'm expecting him to be situational more than anything, which is a fancy word for sometimes in the rotation and sometimes not. Now, on top of that, we're going to see how much Mitchell Robinson and Karl-Anthony Towns actually share the floor after starting games together and likely finishing some games together before teams can just pull off Hack-a-Mitch and then you throw Hart or Deuce or Clarkson or Yabu into there and you're all good and everything's fine. But until that point, we're going to see how much Cat and Mitchell Robinson actually do play together. Now, Josh Hart, he's played 42 playoff games in his NBA career. Every single one of them has been with the Knicks. And here's the crazy thing about Josh when it comes down to it. The man has struggled to shoot in the regular season. Nobody's doubting that. But in the playoffs, he's been objectively a good three-point shooter. For his career, he's shooting 36% from three with the Knicks, which is perfectly passable. And that's only at that 36% mark because of that first year in the playoffs. He only shot 31%. The following years, he shot 37% on back-to-back years, showing that when he locked in, he was a good three-point shooter. Now, it wasn't in high volume, but it didn't have to be. I mean, 4.5 threes per game, not at all low volume. And then 3, not the highest, but for Josh Hart, that's fine. And he was shooting well, which is what matters at the end of the day for the New York Knicks when we're looking at this team and what we want to see out of them. So I do think that Josh Hart, specifically, I do think that him being benched is somewhat about him being in his own head, but it's also really the Knicks' defensive factor. Mitchell Robinson has been in the playoffs for a good 3 years now with the New York Knicks, and he's always been such a positive impact player. Even when he was playing on an injury against the Philadelphia 76ers and for a few games against the Indiana Pacers in that 2024 year, he was still absolutely excellent and a game changer. And the following year, it was the same deal, that he was coming off that injury, the same one that he was recovering from for a long period of time. And yeah, the numbers were never as good as his first year when you just look at the raw stats. But at the same time, what we saw out of Mitchell Robinson was excellent defense, a true disruptor, and also the best offensive rebounder in basketball. I mean, the man time and time again has been phenomenal. For the playoffs, for his career in the playoffs, he averages 4.1 offensive rebounds per game. Mitchell Robinson absolutely is that guy, and that's really why he's getting that spot. It's not about Josh Hart, because Josh obviously has the numbers of a starting player. Someone who puts up 13.5 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists a game, and shoots 52% from the field. Yeah, the three-point shooting is an issue because you can stick big men on Josh Hart, and that's what's caused things. Hart has to show more of a willingness to shoot the ball, and he would be able to find himself in the starting lineup or just in closing lineups in some games, and that would absolutely make sense, especially because Josh Hart's a great player, and nobody's going to doubt that Josh Hart is phenomenal. Now, on top of this, Edwards mentioned that Brunson, Bridges, Anunoby, Towns, and Robinson, that lineup didn't set the world on fire, but it performed better than the previous starting group, albeit with a smaller sample size. The new starting lineup had a minus 3.7 net rating and 65 total playoff minutes, and Edwards said, ultimately, I think Brown and his staff will end up inserting Robinson into the starting lineup permanently in order to best maximize the defense. My guess as of mid-August is that Robinson will be the first player to come out of the game for Yabusele, so the Knicks can lean into more of a 5-out system, with Towns shifting to center, which does make a ton of sense as well. Now, here's also the big thing here. What we want to do is optimize Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. Brunson, who put up 26 points, 3 rebounds, and 7 assists, shooting 38% from 3 and 48% from the field, is one of the best players in the NBA. Karl-Anthony Towns is the second man in this two-man duo that is the best offensive duo in the Eastern Conference, no doubt about it. While Jason Tatum's not there, the Knicks are far and away the best offensive duo in the East and are really in the running for basketball in general, having the best offensive duo. The problem is the defense is an issue. Now, Towns put up 24.5 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 42% from the field, and 42% from 3 and 52% from the field. On top of that, he did play well in the playoffs, sort of silencing doubters who said that he couldn't perform in the playoffs, something that I was worried about. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I wasn't. But there's also another part of this. The Knicks want to optimize defense. We know Mike Brown is not a defensive-first head coach, so part of the thing there is they have to be ready to go out there and be willing to have a lot of good individual defenders on the court, so when they are playing defense, there are great defenders out there who are going to sort of help the Knicks still play that offensive style, because all of them are valuable offensive players, whether it's Mitchell Robinson's offensive rebounding, the corner three-point shooting of one of these two guys on the screen, or just the ability that both of them have in their own right, whether it's Mikal Bridges being able to create in the mid-range like really very few in the NBA can, or OG Anunoby being one of the best cutters in basketball. There's going to be a lot of stuff to like out of them, but this is a defensive unit between these two. It should be the best defending wing duo in basketball. It was in the playoffs. It's a matter of if Mikal is going to be able to lock in and lock down on defense. Something that now with Tom Thibodeau not being the head coach, who Mikal didn't seem to be thrilled to play for, I do think that he's going to have a great season with the Knicks. I think OG is going to have a great season as well. And we're going to see this defensive duo play really nicely together. And it's going to make a lot of sense why the Knicks have made these calls. I mean, you look at this unit that was in the playoffs, the one that we saw that just stopped working with Josh Hart in the starting lineup over Mitch. We saw them play 335 minutes in the playoffs. Their offensive rating was worse than the rest out the rest of their top 5 most used lineups except for one of them, and then on top of that, their defensive rating was the second worst as well. The unit of Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Mitchell Robinson did not work at all, and it's pretty simple why. The shooting was an issue. That's the whole thing there. I mean, look, you see the defensive rating. It was good. Like, it wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. But their net rating was a minus 11.2 because they did not have shooting out there. However, you don't need to have a 5 out if Mitchell Robinson's there. And yeah, again, minus 3.7 net rating isn't great, but this unit got inserted when they were down 3-1 to the Indiana Pacers, so it's kind of tough to bank on things. So, honestly, it's one of those situations where I'm not really too worried about that unit. I think they're going to find their way, especially in an offense that's less freelance and actually has a backbone to it and has an actual system in play like Mike Brown will. We also saw the lineup of Jalen Brunson, OG, Mikal, Deuce McBride, and Mitchell Robinson perform absolutely excellently. Once again showing that when you have 4 shooters out there with Mitch, even if Karl-Anthony Towns, one of the best offensive big men we've ever seen pick up a basketball, even if he's not out there, the Knicks have excellent ratings, and obviously their net rating flies up with Deuce in there playing defense instead of Towns, because then Brunson's the only guy you have to hide on defense, and when you have Deuce, OG, Mikal, and Mitch out there, that's the lineup you want to hide Brunson on defense. This is a lineup I want to see more as well, and I do think Mike Brown's going to mess with these lineups a lot more. When we look at the 3-man lineups as well, we also see a lot of interesting stuff with it, because you look and basically the one that was most used was Brunson, OG, and Mikal, which wasn't really working as well. But then when you go all the way down and see Brunson, OG, and Mitch, it does work really well. And you're seeing that there's a common denominator here. Most of the best lineups have Mitchell Robinson in there. When you look throughout everywhere, they're usually the ones with the highest net rating, and all of these had poor net ratings, which is a real bad sign for Tom Thibodeau. The only one that had a positive net rating was Mitchell Robinson, and the one with one of the lowest net ratings also had Mitchell Robinson. It's proof how good Mitch is and how much of a positive impact player he is. You got to start someone like that. It's really imperative that you do that because there's no reason not to. Mitch deserves to be in the starting lineup, and I look forward to seeing him enter that. It just makes a ton of sense to use it. It's nothing anti-Josh Hart. It's just pro-Mitchell Robinson, and Josh has been open to coming off the bench if that's what's going to help them win. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day, and go Knicks.